Silence, all stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court, please draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Jinan Ahmad.
May it please the court, I move that Jinan Ahmad be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jinan Ahmed be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexander Jacob Bedwell.
May it please the court, I move that Alexander Jacob Bedwell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexander Jacob Bedwell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Andre Marie Bemmer.
May it please the court, I move that Andre Marie Bemmer be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Andre Marie Bemmer be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Olivia Sarah Brennan.
May it please the court, I move that Olivia Sarah Brennan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Olivia Sarah Brennan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jordan Patrick Brewer.
May it please the court, I move that Jordan Patrick Brewer be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jordan Patrick Brewer be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Fan Boo.
May it please the court, I move that Fan Boo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Fan Boo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Benjamin Carl.
May it please the court, I move that Daniel Benjamin Carl be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel Benjamin Carl be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lorena Caruso.
May it please the court, I move that Lorena Caruso be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lorena Caruso be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madison Claire Chaplin.
May it please the court, I move that Madison Claire Chaplin be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madison Claire Chaplin be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ellen Brooke Collins.
May it please the court, I move that Ellen Brooke Collins be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ellen Brooke Collins be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amelia Svetinovsky.
May it please the court, I move my fiancée Amelia Svetinovsky be admitted to this honourable court.
Let Amelia Svetinovsky be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tevis Glenn Soso Eccleston.
May it please the court, I move that Tevis Glenn Siosel Eccleston be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tevis Glenn Siosel Eccleston be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabel English.
May it please the court, I move that Isabel English be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isabel English be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Ferrari.
May it please the court, I move that Daniel Ferrari be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel Ferrari be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ella Glynn Yosef.
May it please the court, I move that my niece Ella Glynn Yosef be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ella Glynn Yosef be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Harriet Alice Kennedy Griffin.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Harriet Alice Kennedy Griffin be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Harriet Alice Kennedy Griffin be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shivika Gupta.
May it please the court, I move that Shivika Gupta be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shivika Gupta be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amanda K Heath.
May it please the court, I move that Amanda K Heath be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Amanda K Heath be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Bianca Louise Hidalgo.
May it please the court, I move that Bianca Louise Hidalgo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Bianca Louise Hidalgo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Luke James Lawrence Highland.
May it please the court, I move that Luke James Lawrence Highland be admitted as lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Luke James Lawrence Highland be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Annika James.
May it please the court, I move that Annika James be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Annika James be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Safa Karim.
May it please the court, I move that Safa Karim be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Safa Karim be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Simon Andrew Kendrick.
May it please the court, I move that Simon Andrew Kendrick be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Simon Andrew Kendrick be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Varsha Lakhani.
May it please the court, I move that Varsha Lakhani be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Varsha Lakhani be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Francesca Nicola Lombardo.
May it please the court, I move that Francesca Nicola Lombardo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Let Francesca Nicola Lombardo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nicholas Marin.
May it please the court, I move that Nicholas Marin be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicholas Marin be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Constance Day Marks.
May it please the court, I move that Constance Day Marks be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Constance Day Marks be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Cameron Glenn McLean.
May it please the court, I move that my son Cameron Glenn McLean be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Cameron Glenn McLean be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Janelle Regina Diana Miranda.
May it please the court, I move that Janelle Regina Diana Miranda be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Janelle Regina Diana Miranda be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Francesca Eleanor Molnar.
May it please the court, I move that Francesca Eleanor Molnar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Francesca Eleanor Molnar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jeremy Mundell.
May it please the court, I move that Jeremy Mondell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jeremy Mondell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sinead Maeve Nolan.
May it please the court, I move that my sister Sinead May Nolan be admitted as a member of this honourable court.
Let Sinead Maeve Nolan be admitted as a member of this court.
Christina Estelle Noland.
May it please the court, I move that Christina Estelle Nolan may be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christina Estelle Nolan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zachary Jamison O'Mara.
May it please the court, I move that Zachary Jameson Mira be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zachary Jamison O'Meara be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emily Georgia Pern.
May it please the court, I move that Emily Georgia Pern be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Emily Georgia Pern be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jessica Marie Pereira.
May it please the court, I move that Jessica Marie Pereira be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jessica Marie Pereira be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jenny Reuter.
May it please the court, I move that my cousin Jenny Reuter be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jenny Reuter be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rachel Michelle Stanton.
May it please the court, I move that Rachel Michelle Stanton be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rachel Michelle Stanton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael Emilio Tamaris.
May it please the court, I move that Michael Tamaris be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michael Emilio Tamaris be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabel Toomer.
May it please the court, I move that Isabel Toomer be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isabel Toomer be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Graham Russell Watson.
May it please the court, I move that Graham Russell Watson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Graham Russell Watson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Wei Wei.
May it please the court, I move that Wei Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Wei Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yi Wen Wei.
May it please the court, I move that Yi Wen Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yi Wen Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Oliver Murray Harris Wilson.
I move that my son, Oliver Murray Harris Wilson, be admitted as a lawyer.
Let Oliver Murray Harris Wilson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexander Jane Dalrymple Wood.
May it please the court, I move that my sister, Alexandra Jane Dalrymple Wood, be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Let Alexandra Jane Dalrymple Wood be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zhao Hua Zheng.
May it please the court, I move that Zhao Hua Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zhao Hua Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this court. It will now be necessary for those applicants whose admission has been moved to stand and remain standing for the purpose of swearing an oath or making a declaration and affirmation. Please stand as directed by the officiating officer.
Would the first two rows to my right please stand? Jeanan Ahmad, Alexander Jacob Bedwell, Andre Marie Bemmer, Olivia Sarah Brennan, Jordan Patrick Brewer, Van Boo, Daniel Benjamin Carl, Lorena Caruso, Madison Claire Chaplin, Ellen Brooke Collins, Amelia Svetinovsky, Tivas Glenn Sosal Eccleston, Isabel English, Daniel Ferrari, Ella Glynn Yosef. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, so help me God, or I do? Would you please be seated? Would the third and fourth rows please stand? Harriet Alice Kennedy Griffin, Shivika Gupta, Amanda K Heath, Bianca Louise Hidalgo, Luke James Lawrence Highland, Annika James, Safa Karim, Simon Andrew Kendrick, Varsha Lakhani, Francesca Nicola Lombardo, Nicholas Marin, Constance Day Marks, Cameron Glenn McLean, Janelle Regina Diana Miranda, Francesca Eleanor Molnar, Jeremy Mondell, Sinead Maeve Nolan, Christina Estelle Noland, Zachary Jamison O'Mara, Emily Georgia Pern, Jessica Marie Pereira. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, so help me God, or I do? Would you please be seated? The two rows to my left please stand. Jenny Reuter, Rachel Michelle Stanton, Michael Emilio Tamaris, Isabel Toomer, Graham Russell Watson, Wei Wei, Yi Wen Wei, Oliver Murray Harris Wilson, Alexander Jane Dalrymple Wood, Xiaohua Zhang. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? Would you please be seated?
Well, may I warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today to my right is Justice Kirk, who is a member of the New South Wales Court of Appeal, and to my left, Justice Sakar, who is a senior member of the Equity Division of the Court. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you, the newly admitted lawyers, to practice. We have done so sitting on the land for which the Gadigal of the Eora Nation have cared and been custodians for thousands of years, and the court pays its respects to the Gadigal elders past, present and emerging, and extends those respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. In the spirit of the Uluru Statement from the Heart, which is an eloquent, accurate and powerful statement which looks forward to a fuller expression of Australia's nationhood with great dignity, we acknowledge the regrettable reality that this nation's laws and legal systems have so often in the past delivered the opposite of justice to First Nations peoples. Well, to all of the newly admitted lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is one for great celebration. You've all worked, we know, extremely hard to get here. Countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, reading wafer-thin pages of textbook or online, and more cases than you can hope to remember. And for most of you, your journey has involved 2 extraordinarily challenging final years affected by the pandemic, and in which you have been deprived of many of the opportunities for the forging of close bonds with your peers that those final years usually present. You have faced and come through an additional adversity unprecedented in our lifetimes. That makes your achievement all the more impressive, and the resilience you have developed will stand you well into the future. It is in a spirit of optimism that I express my sincere hope that you enter the profession today at a time when our society is exiting the dreadful impact of the pandemic. In being admitted as a lawyer of this court, you join a profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an oath on admission to practice dates back to the 12th century, and this court first admitted lawyers in 1824. By 1830, the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in the state, as you will do immediately after this ceremony. So you have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years since it was first established in this country. Perhaps for some of you or for your family and friends, that's how long it feels that you have been studying. On that note, I'm also pleased to welcome those with you today or watching on the live stream. For many of you, the support of your family and friends will have been invaluable, no doubt. They have often been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I encourage you to take the time to thank them today, and depending on how good an advocate you have become, you might even convince them to shout you lunch or dinner to celebrate the day. You could, of course, reciprocate and take them out. The law touches every part of our society, and it can and will lead you all in many different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or affirmation you have just made is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, a Crown Law office, a government department or agency, or in an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. And you must strive at all times to uphold these values. Admission as a member of the legal profession is a privilege, it is not a right. It is in acknowledgement of the weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the fact that your admission has been moved by someone who is already a member of the legal profession, and that you have made a formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family and peers. That means that they are all witnesses to the promises and undertakings you have made today. As to formality, you will see from the portraits around this Banco court that we on the bench are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, as have been worn by our predecessors. Symbolically, that highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales. And in a world in which there is much global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important than ever, and it's not simply a phrase of some theoretical import. It is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. We know that at the current time there is nothing theoretical about those threats. Although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanged or unchanging. The pandemic meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure that access to justice continued in the midst of the pandemic. It is not something that could be suspended, nor should it have been. Certainly, challenges arose in terms of open justice, effective communication, and fairness to participants. But for all the challenges we faced, new opportunities presented themselves, including greater workplace flexibility, which is especially important for lawyers with family responsibilities. Better use of technology also has profound implications for how our legal system interacts with and may become accessible to many more people than is usually the case. Although the use of technology in the courts offers a number of advantages, the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, understanding how others react to different situations, perform under pressure, and deal with each other. And as I said in my recent swearing-in speech as Chief Justice, whilst the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. There are, of course, other changes which deserve attention in addition to those that have been accelerated by the pandemic. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter a duality that on the one hand, we have come very far, on the other hand, that much still needs to be done. For example, although women were originally not even permitted to practice law in New South Wales and were a long time a small minority of practitioners, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practicing certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 2/3 of solicitors under the age of 30. The New South Wales magistracy has an equal number of male and female magistrates. And women also occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia, the Commonwealth Attorney General, the President of this Court's Court of Appeal, and both the Commonwealth and state directors of public prosecutions are very distinguished female silks. There should not only be gender diversity, but also strong representation of lawyers from many different backgrounds which comprise our cosmopolitan community. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, advocates and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in our justice system, whether voluntarily or not, can and feel that they can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. The admissions ceremonies on which I have sat since becoming a judge three and a bit years ago, including this ceremony, highlight that there is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when we three on the bench commenced practice, and that is a very good thing. You, the newly admitted lawyers, are today in a unique position as you enter the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unfair laws, about systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable, or, for example, unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment, or bullying. You should speak up for the things that matter. That is one of the great traditions of lawyers. You should speak up for and stand behind that in which you believe. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction which it takes. I also urge you to engage with your communities outside the law. Your training as a lawyer in systematic thought, the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you very well indeed for service beyond day-to-day practice. You will also derive great satisfaction from such wider engagement. Now, turning from opportunities to obligations and a little bit of friendly advice. As a lawyer, you will often need to make difficult ethical decisions. You must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and to the administration of justice. One mistake, which you must not make, is to give your clients the advice you think they want to hear. That will not be good advice. Justice Gageler, before he became a High Court judge, once said this, and I quote, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." Unquote. That, as one might expect from that great judge, is very sage advice indeed. Being a lawyer means that you are an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate. And as you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you are not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but the law as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer is in most cases an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge or crisis affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being, health or financial or personal position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively, competently and fearlessly, but always with courtesy and integrity. In this context, I want to emphasise to you as you embark on your journey the importance of civility. Aspects of the law, especially if you're involved in the litigation side of practice, are confrontational. But the practice of the law can be stressful and demanding enough without personal antagonism between practitioners adding to the load. It is essential that you maintain your detachment, balance, and good humour, remembering at all times that you are members of a profession and not a business. And remember this, the best advocates can and do make their points simply and succinctly. Often, less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges, including myself, could use that reminder from time to time. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. Strive to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and your speaking. I also want to touch briefly on the subject of failure, perhaps unusual topic to raise on an occasion such as this. There will inevitably be quite a few overachievers and perfectionists in the room today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, especially when you are starting out. We all make mistakes. Well, I certainly have. I don't know whether my colleagues would admit to that, but we all make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from the mistakes you make and not to make the same mistake twice. But if and when you do make a mistake, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. Finally, your physical and mental health are both extremely important. This is something we recognise more clearly today than we have, I think, in the past. There may and I dare say will be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out or distressed. Legal practice can be all-consuming and physically and mentally taxing. You must work hard to keep your balance and keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues do as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we all have from time to time, try and take a step back and recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to your colleagues that perhaps they should do so as well. In this context, also remember that the legal profession is a highly collegiate one, and in times of difficulty, the support and friendship of your peers will prove invaluable. The Bar Association and the Law Society are both institutionally attuned to the demands of practice and lending genuine and strong support to practitioners, including and perhaps especially young practitioners starting out. So become a member of those communities and you will benefit from it. Can I say this to you all in closing? The law is a wonderful profession, stimulating, challenging, and satisfying, and it is populated by intelligent, committed, and dynamic people. You should all be proud to be a lawyer and proud of your achievements to date. And you should remain proud to be a lawyer. It is a very important profession, and a legal career is one that can take you in many different directions, all of which are interesting and rewarding. Hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. On behalf of all of the judges of the Supreme Court and my friends and colleagues, Justice Kirk and Justice Sakar, with me on the bench, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.